Right, good morning, everybody. So, trains, rail, not something I expected to hear much at a conference like this, but I guess Oliver started off with referring to the age of the steam train. And actually, rail is a pretty exciting place to be and a pretty dynamic place to be in the 21st century. Before I start, I just thought I'd ask a question of everybody here in the room. Please raise your hand if over the last 12 months you've made several journeys on a train. Right, I can see. So you can see rail is pretty widely used. And in the UK, Trainline was formed in 1998, and today we have become by far and away the market leader in terms of online rail retail. And in fact, not just online, but we are the largest retailer, full stop, in terms of rail in this country. So let's talk about the market briefly. Unlike on the continent, in the UK, we have a franchise market. We have about 21 train operating companies. And that brings some complexity to the market. Rail, by the way, in general, tends to be complex. And that offers Trainline the possibility of then simplifying things for the customer. Because either through our website, or our mobile apps, or through our call centers, customers can book from any point A to any point B without having to worry about what rail company they're going through. So let's talk about the market, begin to talk about how big things can get. Well, the UK rail industry is about 8.5 billion, and it's been growing very fast, about 8% compounded over the last 5 years, and that growth is set to continue. And it's being driven by two things. On the one hand, you have the supply side with significant government investment, and on the other, you have the demand side where customers are looking to shift mode of travel, to get out of the car onto the train and out of the plane onto the train. So it's a large market. But beyond that, and perhaps more important for us, is that we compete in the fastest growing segment, the online piece. And the reason for that is that in the UK, the online market is still relatively small. The majority of tickets are still being purchased by people standing in lines, queues as we call them here, in front of the ticket window or in front of the ticket machine. If you look at online distribution of rail, it's about 26% of the total market, compared with 54% for other modes of travel. Now, if you look then at other countries, like France, as an example here, you see that rail is more closely aligned to the rest of the travel market. So we don't know if the 26% will become 46 or 66, but we know it will get a lot bigger, and therefore it's growing very, very quickly today. So, where are we in that market? Well, we are really ubiquitous across the market, and our most important segment is the consumer segment. We're consumer-led there in the middle. And that's where people come to the Trainline.com. But we also compete in the retail solutions market, as we call it. So if you know the particular rail company that you want to travel with, and you go to their website, you're very often going to a site that has been designed, built, and is managed by Trainline. And we supply a host of other services to surround that. Mobile apps, back office services, call center services, CRM marketing services. Over on the right there, then you see the business segment, where through our APIs, we provide tools, booking tools, to large travel agencies like American Express, large corporates, and then SME businesses. And we do all of that off one core operating and system platform, which gives us real economies of scale. And because we do all of that, and because we are ubiquitous to rail, it has allowed us to extend rail distribution in this country, which then, of course, brings us closer in partnership with the rail industry. Now, at the same time that we've been doing that, we've been focused very much on the consumer side and building the brand of the Trainline.com, and we've been very successful there. The Trainline has become one of the leading consumer brands in this country. In terms of travel, and if you measure it by visits to our website, we've passed all the hotel businesses, all the airline businesses, all the tour operators to become the #1 most visited travel business in the UK, with some 20+ million visits per month. And that's growing by about 30% a year. Our mobile apps have been downloaded more than 5 million times. And now today, some 64% of our visits come to us through mobile devices. So, where does that leave us today? We're in a growing market. We're in the growing segment of that market. We have 60 to 70% of that market, and we've built a strong brand. So where do we go from here? Well, we have 3 levers of growth that we're pulling. The first is mobile. And we actually, I don't think we saw how big mobile could get, but we did see it was coming, and we invested several years ago in native apps. And then since then, we've used the best marketing tool we have, our website, to market those apps. And I'll talk more about the opportunity there in a moment. Secondly, we have seen a resurgence in our B2B business, driven by this trend which you see in other sectors called consumerization, whereby people like to use in their business environment tools that they've come to know and love in their personal lives, in this case, the Trainline.com. And then finally, and I'll come to this in due course, we're beginning to move outside of the UK and venture into Europe. So, let me turn to what is undoubtedly the biggest opportunity we face, which is mobile. And let's start with the market. There are some nearly 800 million train journeys made every year in this country. You got a slight sense of that when people raised their hands at the beginning of my presentation. I talked earlier that about 26% of the market being online. Well, that's by value. If you look at it by volume, in terms of number of tickets, only 12% of this market is online, leaving a massive 88% of nearly 800 million tickets not online, many of them still being sold by people standing in lines at stations, to people standing in lines at stations. And the mobile phone, this isn't a mobile phone, but this device is the key to unlocking that. It allows us to be in the hand of the customer when they're thinking about that travel, when they're looking to book that ticket. It unlocks this massive market that up until now we've not really been able to tackle. We call it the walk-up market. But the opportunity really is unlocked when not only can you buy the ticket on this device, but you can receive it on this device, when we've modernized fulfillment. And we have already made great strides here. I'm going to show you here just a couple slides from our iPhone app. So, you've stored your favorite journeys on the app. One click, you pick your journey. Next click, you pick the type of ticket you'd like, first or standard class. 3 more clicks, you enter the security code on the back of the credit card that is already stored in the device. And then 1 final click, and the ticket downloads to your phone, either as a barcode, so you can scan it on a gate like you would at Heathrow with a boarding pass, or as a visual ticket, which I've shown on this slide. So this technology, which is in existence and is now rolling out, together with the mobile phone, unlocks a massive market. And how big can it get? I don't know, but it's, the opportunity is some 88% of nearly 800 million journeys. Lastly, let me come to international. I said earlier that the UK market is about £8.5 billion in size. Well, the rail market across the continent is nearly 50 billion euros. That market is growing on the back of government investment, but more importantly, it's being opened up to distribution. It's being deregulated as we speak. And Trainline is ideally positioned to go after that market. We have a huge amount of experience in rail in the UK. And as far as we can see, there's nobody else out there doing what we're doing. I guess because they haven't had franchised markets like we have. We're not going after the whole market. We're going after the inbound traveler from US, Canada, Australia, Asia into Europe, and then Europeans looking to travel cross-border on rail. We've already launched our site. It's still in beta test, and here it is, a picture of the site on this slide. And there's a lot more to come here in due course. So, 3 growth levers. In summary, we have a very strong position today in this market. If we just keep doing what we're doing, there is significant runway in front of us. But we aren't just going to sit still. We're going to do 3 things. We're going after that massive mobile market that I just spoke of, the walk-up ticket market. We're going to continue to grow within B2B on the back of the trends that we're seeing. And finally, we're becoming an international business. Thank you very much.